first this hour, face recognition technology for cows. An app has been developed. It's called Stoktake. I'm going to spell it for you. Stoktake. If you've got questions about it, I get it. This might be the first time you're ever hearing about it, but if you've got questions, call in now, 1300 160 222 or text on 0467 922 783. The aim is my understanding, we'll find out more, but the aim is to be able to better identify cattle and prevent stock theft and identify cattle in a way that is cheaper than DNA matching and more effective than some of the other ways we have of identifying cattle. The idea, the brains behind it, is Dr. Phillip Zada, or Phil. Phil Zada, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
I just want to acknowledge for people that I read about Stoktake in the Advertiser over the weekend and asked producer Dixie to track you down. So this is how we've ended up having this conversation. Am I on the right track referring to the tech as face recognition for cows?
Yes, that's exactly right. So basically what we do is we built a technology that uses just a standard smartphone app. You take a photo of the cow's face, register it with the platform, and then essentially the cow can be identified using any photo that you take of that cow's face in the future.
Do all cows look different?
Actually, yes. There's
Wow.
unique features on the cow's face, which is equivalent to a human thumbprint, and that's what we identify in our algorithm. That basically is used to tell one cow from another.
So a cow's face, you can definitely tell different cows apart. Now, I'm sure that there are farmers out there that are going, yeah, Narelle, you're so dumb. But, I'm thinking you've got 1,000 head of cattle or whatever, and you may know a few of them, but you wouldn't be able to tell them all apart. But the artificial intelligence can. Wow.
Yes, correct.
Okay. How does it work? You obviously take the photo of the cow, but then where is all that stored?
Yeah, so we're currently working out the greater scheme because we're in pilot at the moment. But essentially, what it is when the cow is in the crush, which I believe most farmers do it every 1 to 6 months. You take about 10 photos initially to register the cow while it's in the crush. Those photos are sent to our processing engine, which then loads it into a model that's specifically for your farm. So, in other words, you have your own model there. So, these are your cows, and basically, it's your data. And then at the same time, what we're working on is potentially we aim to build a national register for cattle. So then that way, people like sales yards and law enforcement can actually tap into that and identify cows that they find on the side of the road or cows they've just come off the sale, which they're questionable, things like that.
Wow, so you've got a better chance of getting your cows back. Dr. Phil Zada is my guest. He's the founder of Stoktake, Stoktake, an artificial intelligence-powered livestock image recognition platform. How did you recognise the need for this kind of app?
I've always been linked with academia. So when I got my PhD a few years ago, I've always kept my finger on the pulse. I found that there was just a gap in this space because the current mechanisms at the moment, which were, just speaking to a few family friends who are farmers, saying, the ear tags, they fall off, they get taken off, the branding, the traditional branding of cattle is, inhumane in some senses and can be scarred off as well. So, I figured technology needs to catch up, and it did.
Yeah, gosh. There are some shortfalls well documented in other methods of identification. So, you've got if your cow's branded, people can change the brand. That can be done. You've got ear tags. Well, they can be removed. Have you got an estimate of how much cattle duffing goes on, Phil?
Well, the latest stats we saw, about 5% of cattle in Australia are either reported lost or stolen, and that's what's being reported. Now, some farmers who have large herds won't even know for a while if they're missing a cow, or smaller farmers who might lose 1 or 2 cattle might be too much of an effort. Like, what's the point of reporting it? So, I think the latest stats was about 5%.
Gosh, yeah, that's something, isn't it? So if a farmer was using Stoktake and some of their cattle went missing, how would it then be used to bring the cows back? Are you sort of waiting for them to show up at a sale yard or something?
Well, believe it or not, a lot of because we've got monthly user groups, so we have law enforcement and other members there who just tell us about their experiences, and we try to learn from that. In some cases, it could be the farm's wandered into the next paddock to another property. It could be it's down the road. If it is stolen, then the idea is with this technology, once we evolve it, that as the cows are brought into the sales yard, their faces are immediately snapped and checked against the register to see, hang on, has this cow been reported stolen?
So do you, for it to be used to that extent, Phil, do you need government support for it?
Most definitely, because this is essentially going to be what we're aiming for is this being a national register.
Yep.
So in conjunction with the NLIS, so the National Livestock Identification System, this could supplement that technology as well.
So, Phil, we're talking about cattle at this stage. Would it also work for other livestock? Would it work for sheep? Would it work for goats? Would it work for horses or even deer?
Yeah, that's on the roadmap as well. So effectively, we've built a platform, and the platform engine at the moment just works for cattle. However, we have the capability in our system that we can actually introduce different algorithms for different types of animals. So effectively, instead of rebuilding the system from scratch, we just build a new algorithm for horses or sheep, as you're saying, and then we just plug that in.
And I mean, this could stop. Horse racing could stop things like the fine cotton affair, couldn't it? Horses impersonating other horses. I don't know how much that goes on, if it goes on at all. But it's another way of checking. Hey, is the horse that's supposed to be running in this? Is it actually running? On the tech side of things, Phil, do you then have to protect your intellectual property so that once your app for cattle is up and running, that somebody doesn't come in and go pinch your idea and say, yeah, now I've done one for sheep?
Well, at the moment, we've just got cattle there in terms of the platform. In terms of the algorithms, there's plenty of them to go around, but the implementation of the platform is the challenging bit, and that's the part we've solved.
Well, I think it's really interesting. When do you expect that you would see farmers using this?
We hope to be ready for public release by mid to late this year, but at the moment, we're in the funding round, effectively. With the current climate at the moment, it's just a bit tough.
Tough to get the funding to get it to the point where you can release the app.
Correct.
Okay, well, I wish you great success with it, and let's hope that it achieves everything that you're setting out to achieve. I think you've got some great aims there. Dr. Phil Zada, the founder of Stoktake, which is an AI-powered livestock image recognition platform.